Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic channel. Hope you're all having a fabulous day. And today I thought we'd take a little bit of a walk through Germany and Bavaria and some of the castles and architecture that is around. Because they definitely have some cool castles out there and some very cool buildings as well. Stuff like this, and look at all how many statues there are on that, all in their own little portico, and of course going straight under the ground. So yeah, I've got a couple of books. We've got some pictures from basically from the 1700s through to the 1930s, and you'll be surprised sort of how old world Germany was in the 1930s. Alrighty, so let's jump into this. Okay, and this book is called The Picturesque Views of Heidelberg. Heidelberg. So basically it's got photos, it says from 1700s through to the 1800s by different photographers, I guess. So yeah, let's check it out. It's got some good castles and things. So this is just the cover, Heidelberg. As you can see, this is Heidelberg back in the day. Again, these really nice pencil drawings, and just look at the columns on that thing. Bibliothek. Prince Roland Bonaparte. Well, there you go. So, yeah, that's got to do with Napoleon. And look at this for interesting. Now, Martin Liedtke would like this, because we have the eagle with its wings outspread, and we have what look to be lightning bolts coming from it. And Martin, through his research, has worked out that when you have an eagle or a dragon with their wings outstretched, it means electricity or charged. So interesting pig. Of course, we have the crown on the head, and you know, these funny things that we see everywhere, which again Martin has theorized might be something to do with springs and machinery. But let's jump into the book. So here we go. This is called The Castle of Heidelberg. Oh my God, really? Before its destruction. And look what we've got here right in the water. I've spoken about the machine of Marley. And look at this, we have a big building right on the water, and we have these huge wheels in there. Now we're told that basically, you know, anytime we see this, it's just what they call water wheels, and it's really just to turn, you know, a wheel to grind, you know, grain with. It's pretty much all we're told, but, you know, are these all remnants of much more advanced tech? And again, it's juxtaposition of, you know, people in a little wooden boat. This guy's got a pole and he's pushing them around. You know, this looks all just like mud and dirt. But we have these 3-story brick and stone buildings. We have all these spires and turrets and things in the air. We have this bit here just sticking out of the ground. These look like fences or something, or walls. And then we have the elephant in the room. Look at this thing. Clearly a star fort. You can see by the angles here. Massive towers just built. And see how they're all sort of built. I mean, I'm not sure. Is that built onto rock, or is that mud build-up of some kind? This looks a bit flooded. But I mean, just look at the side there. That looks like it goes onto a cliff or something. And that's what, like 1, 2, 3, Well, actually it's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories, pretty big stories. You know, massive. I mean, it just keeps going off into the distance. I mean, look at that. Then up on the hill, but back here we have something else. But look at this dome, you know, I mean, how familiar is that look? Dome, 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 spires everywhere. You know, I'm starting to notice these funny little windows in these roofs, like the small ones that kind of dot around the larger ones, a lot recently. Arches. This bit hanging off the side there. And again, this is drawn in pencil. You know, to look at, but I mean, is it? You know, this topic's come up a few times, that these things are so intricate. And it looks like there's a few different sort of styles and ways that they did it. It always sort of involves lines. A lot of times it's got crisscrosses and things. So here's more of those funny little windows in the roof. So yeah, else we have here. What's this? Is this the same place? So I just can't see the title for it. Pretty much looks like just a different angle, but same thing, big brick buildings. Wow, this looks a bit more intricate in this photo. Okay, and this big tower's been smashed down, so this is obviously at a later date. Oh wow, look at this, it's all been smashed down. Oh no. So see that, how it's all there? Nice big domes. And now it's smashed. And so the dates, and even this thing at the back is pretty much gone. I mean, look at that. What smashes something like that? And this is clearly, has quite a bit of destruction, and this looks like it's untouched. No doubt we'll be told it was some kind of war. Here's another shot of it. And this is what we're shown a lot, isn't it? These sort of derelict castles. Just sitting up on hills, and we're just told they were built by some king with 1 million unskilled labourers and no industry, and they just sit there rotting until they can knock them over. And then a built out old world city below. We've got a nice bridge down here. Huge spires. And some people working in the field. And again, you know, they're just sort of out there with hand tools, just cutting down wheat or collecting fruit or something. And there's all this. And look how straight this river is too while we're here. But yeah, what a shame. And how many castles were there like this? Oh wow, look at that. Is that part of an aqueduct? So this is Germany, Heidelberg, Germany, and that clearly looks like part of an aqueduct. Of course we're told aqueducts were pretty much in Rome, but that has been pretty busted wide open, that myth, because there's clearly aqueducts everywhere, including South America. Just old world built out city. And up on the hill, castle just getting worse and worse. And see this bit in the middle that's sort of still standing? It kind of looks like a house. This bit, doesn't it? So I wonder if they've, you know, if they take all the other stuff and leave the house, because we have a lot of buildings like that, but clearly they're not in castles. Is that what we just saw? Look at this. What's that? Is that some kind of machinery with an aqueduct up here? We saw the water wheel before. That looks like a bit of a wheel in there too. So again, were they pumping water up hills everywhere and dispersing it back down through gravity? And now you can see it's all just in disrepair. Trees growing all through here, quite large trees. Like, look at that, that's 3 stories tall. But see again, this house looks like there's someone living in there and it's still being looked after, but the rest of it is just crumbling. Nice big walls though. I mean, look at that wall. Just knocked up. You know, as you do. Alright, so now this is I think it's all the same place. This is probably, well, clearly inside, and this is at that structure that looks like a house. So now we can see how intricate it is. It's all completely covered. Look at the statues everywhere. There as well, in all these porticos. And these, see, I thought these were called porticos. I'm going to have to find out a proper word, because apparently these kind of indented shapes are so, also something like this would be a portico, and if there was a triangle above that, oh, like here, that's a portico too, but apparently it's the whole kind of thing. So if that was a doorway, it would be a portico as well, but just the triangle by itself, I'm not sure what that's called. And notice there's all these balls everywhere. Just amazing architecture, and again, all we're told, hand-drawn. Like statues everywhere. Huge, Roman-esque type column coming up to these big arches, and of course that's supporting a building, and of course look at the size as well. Got the usual costumes, but yeah, see, that's just, look at that up there. So pretty cool, and even this looks a bit mud flooded on the inside. Look, that's an obelisk. Doesn't it? You know, we have like doors down here, looks like it's down underground. And just see how it's not an even, you can see there's dirt up here and it kind of, so it kind of looks a bit mud flooded on the inside there as well. Ooh, bit of destruction's happened here. This has completely been knocked over. This is obviously old because it's all got plants growing through it. So this is probably that front big tower, and the house is kind of behind it. I don't know, I think that's the same place. And just a scene from inside. What is this? Look how big that piece of stone is compared to these people. They're obviously getting married. Got a frieze here on the ground in the wall. This one's just sitting there. Look at the size of the doorway here. Maybe they're not getting married. Maybe they're just cruising out. And isn't it interesting that they do kind of look like a wedding couple, but this is sort of just the clothes that people used to wear back then, just everywhere. You know, look how thick these walls are too, huge stone construction everywhere. The castle balcony, G.H. May in Heidelberg. And yeah, again, all drawn in pencil. Got some, I think that's a person, strange head going on. And this just, you know, hanging off the side here for no particular reason. Antiquitech, you know. And these things were just everywhere, all over the old world. Another view from inside. Gasthorse, something in Heidelberg, a Hotel de Chevalier. Okay, so this looks like it might not be in the castle. This is in the actual city of Heidelberg. Look at this, complete old world. Architecture everywhere, the cobbled streets that, you know, it looks like these were everywhere pretty much. They get uncovered a lot, and they're the original sort of level probably. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they were all put in at a later date. Not sure. And yeah, so back in the day, again, this is how they're getting around. Horse and cart. This guy's pushing his barrel of beer up to the hotel on the little cart. You know, this guy's just carrying stuff. But look where they are. In these huge buildings that are just covered, pretty much every surface covered in a facade, a face ad. Probably all added by the Phoenicians to hide the true identity of who actually did build these originally. Got the columns here, you know, and they sort of try and hide the columns. You know, if you look at that, it doesn't really look like a columny building, does it? But you know, they're clearly there. Archways, even this little port window. And port, you know, there's lots of words, portico, port, and in boats, port is the left side, which is interesting as well, because obviously boats, Phoenicians, Tribe of Dan, all that, the Dutch, water, maritime law. Alright, here's another huge, looks like a nice old stone building, and this is, you know, it's kind of what they do in Australia, but see how this is all nice intricate woodwork. This is clearly wood and has been added at a later date, and the roof too, by the way. So this was probably found as just, you know, like just a brick building with no roof or anything. They've re-roofed it and they've put this on. This has been filled in, steps going up. But yeah, this balcony, this is, you know, it looks very sort of, you know, Bavarian or, you know, German or Swiss or something. And the whole sort of look with this roof hanging outwards, you know, it gives the whole building a different look. And in Australia they do this, but they do big verandas, you know, with posts going down and the roof sort of comes out and it's all got posts and just straight. You know, it's not intricate like this. And that gives it a different look. But when you strip all this off, they're all pretty much the same, you know, kind of buildings. And of course all these people standing around, all wearing the same clothes, like just hanging out in top hats and tails. This is Die Molkenus, the Way House. And here we have Wolfsbrunnen bei Heidelberg. How was that for my German accent? You will look at the picture now. Look at the size of this fountain. A little bit oversized for these people maybe, or maybe not, maybe because it's running down. And again, see this house. This is kind of what I was talking about. This is what they do in Australia with the posts. And you can see how they change the roof lines and things. So all the same, really, the building underneath, but all with a different face add, a different facade, different look, different makeup being added to the old world. Here we go, some nice scrollage. Oh, this must be Germany. That is a very large beer barrel. I mean, even that is a pretty large beer barrel compared to, you know, it's the size of these people. But look at this. Oh, what the? And even the beer has, even the beer barrel is crowned. It's got all this, you know, Phoenician scrolling stuff. You know, it's squared off at the top. So what is it? You know, stairs up. What is this really? Obviously, it looks like a barrel down here, but it may be just square, and that just, you know, made it to look round. You know, facade. Got one of these floating sort of veranda things that you see in ballroom, not ballrooms, like concert halls and things like that. What do they call them? The box seats and things, where of course, you know, the royales normally sit. But what were they originally? You know, especially this one, just sitting out looking at this barrel. Was that for sure? Is that where these people are supposed to be? And whoever built this is supposed to be sort of here talking to them. And is that a big, look at that. Look at that. A giant sized, wow. Is that a compass? Sextant, compass? Looks very Freemason, doesn't it? And very big. Look at that. Very interesting. What is that? You can see it's clearly it's hanging on something in one piece. You can almost see the ring at the top. Definitely looks like a compass or sextant or something. And that be it. Alright, so that was a bit of a view of Heidelberg in the late 1700s, early 1800s. And I just thought we'd have a quick look at this. I'll just go fairly quick. This is Frankfurt around the 1930s, and again, it's just not really, well, it's not the picture I had in my head of Frankfurt, not that I've ever been to Frankfurt. But look at this photo. You know, does that look familiar at all? I mean, that's a Star City. Look at that. That is literally what we see in maps. Total canal around it, cathedral in the middle, higgledy-piggledy roads. I mean, that's just classic, right? 1930s in Germany. I'll leave the link to this book below. Paddle steamers. It's huge. Is that a bridge? I don't know what that is. And these huge buildings. The whole way along. And this is Mainz. So I'm guessing this is just all different cities in Germany as well. Here we have, Rheinstar, something castle. But look at this castle. And this is starting to be pointed out by a few people, including Wooden Nichols just has done some good videos on castles recently. And this is a good example. You'll see this is up on a hill. Traditional looking castle. Well, up on a, it's not really a hill, it's a cliff, isn't it? But if you look down here, you can see this is a wall, an arch there, and the wall comes out here. Now this wall, look at that. What's going on there? Now this is obviously just a drawing, or I think this is a drawing. Might be an etching. It looks like, I don't know. But yeah, it just sort of becomes this like a full, like, two-story. Nothing there, and then this wall. Oh, actually, it's got an arch at the front of it. So this other outcropping of a building. So, you know, what's under here? Is this actually just the pinnacle of something that is a lot bigger? Here as well. I'm not sure what that says. Yeah, just, you know, just a random, I don't know, tower sticking out of the water. Look at this, it's got like little spires everywhere, big dome, huge antenna. You can see this land, and you see this a lot in these old drawings. It's sort of cut up to look like it's farming land, but there's no one farming there. It doesn't look like there's anything growing there. There's definitely no orchards or anything. It just looks flattened. And then again, right on the waterfront, always right along the waterfront, all completely built up. And this is starting to become another bit of something that I'm seeing a lot, is big sort of town and buildings down on the water, and then up on the hill we find a castle. And again, like, look at this wall going down here. I mean, this actually could be the castle we saw in the last book. Not sure. But yeah, so how much, look, see how this castle just keeps going up the hill? So what's under here? Not much here, but you can see old bits of, you know, old world architecture. There's a big arch here, walls along here with big towers in them. Up on the hill, we can see another bit, again, up on a hill, like another big sort of tower popping out, bits along here. And then, look at this, just sticking out of the rocks, this bit of a building. You know, so what's going on? We used to talk about the world, you know, the old world is under our feet and we're walking on history, but, I mean, and here it is again. Town down on the water, castle up on the hill. What the? So, and as you can see, this is quite a big hill, so I don't know. But, you know, what's under here? Because again, we get, like, look at this. Got a wall here, the wall comes down the hill. We've got an outcropping of part of the building down here. It looks like it sort of falls down there as well. We've got a bit popping out here. So what's going on? And of course, down you hit down the ground and got a doorway into this wall. Is that a train? A train all along the edge there. So, you know, the sort of the layout and design of the old world cities is starting to get a bit, you know, I'm starting to see patterns. I'm sure you all are too. You know, there's definitely a design to it. They were set out in a certain way. But what was their function? Because it's also becoming clear that their function was not just as habitats for humans. And here's another just massive castle. And you can see this is the ground level here. I've got bits of the castle, but down here we've just got this other bit popping out. This looks like it's the same castle again. But, and see here, nothing, no trees, nothing all along here. Just barren. A bit of new vegetation here. So is this, what, freshly mud flooded? A bit of, you know, it looks like we've got a nice edge along here. But a bit of sort of overspill. Again, we have islands in the middle, and these look like man-made canals. Yeah, nice old world bridge with these big, you know, big tower pillars we see everywhere. Nice big spire just for, you know, no reason, with a huge antenna on it. This is a huge building, but again, look how barren the landscape is. Massive old world buildings. And you can see down here a hill with what looks like the top of a castle popping out of it. And up here the same thing. And again, the wall that goes all the way down to the bottom. And the castle that looks like it just, you know, becomes the hill, shall we say. And again, this is probably all the same region in just different sort of angles. But yeah, this sort of is the point. You know, always on top of these big... And they're not mountains, they're like, you know, they do tend to look like they're sort of heaped up dirt or something that's spilled down, or I don't know. Islands in the middle with cathedrals on it, steamboats, trains, built out right onto the water. and huge old world buildings. And look up here again, another one, we've got bits sticking out of the hill. This says La Roche de Roland, something, the Dragon. Rock Island, the Isle of, and the Rock of the Dragon, so that must be the Rock of the Dragon. Wonder what that means. Again, old world castle popping out of a hill, and built into the hill as it sort of goes down. So and you can see how they're sort of always sloped up towards the structures on top. Huge antenna here, and of course again everything's just barren. A couple of trees, but not much. And the train scooting off into the distance on its newly uncovered tracks. Nice big steamboats, and steamboats too. It's the same kind of technology as like Marley's machine, and what are they called? Windmills, and all that kind of stuff. Nice big, like, bit of antiquity tenor there. You've got some lines hanging off it, but this is a paddle, like a paddle steamer. So it's not for sales. And of course, this is Bonn, and just built out right up onto the man-made waterfront. And it's the same thing, just, and in Germany and that kind of area, we do have a lot of these huge cathedrals left. And look at the size of that thing. Look at the size of this spire. And just, it just looks like one construction, doesn't it? Like the palaces you see, I guess. The Buckingham Palace, that stolen residence. They're just very, very large buildings. And the size of, they're so big that it's really the kind of stuff that we wouldn't even attempt to start building today. Alright guys, so there you go, just a bit of a look at the old world. This is all Germany, and this stuff, it's not that old. Some of the pictures went back to the 1700s, but this second book, this is all 1930s. So our history has really, really been mixed up, messed around, and as far as the timeline went, I'm not really sure what's going on anymore. Because this book clearly looks like it's after another sort of a mud flood. Maybe this is after it's been cleaned out. It might have taken 100 years, who knows? But there's definitely huge old world cities everywhere, and they all have this similar design, these similar features. We have the cathedrals, the walls, the star shapes, the castles, the man-made canals, the antiquity antennas, bridges, with these big towers, arches. It's all the same thing. And now I'm starting to see wheels everywhere, water wheels. And of course, when you look at these things from above, they do look suspiciously like circuitry or a circuit board of some kind. So is this all to do with the Earth grid, nodal points on the Earth grid? Is that where all these stars and cities are? Who knows? Much more investigation to be done. Alright guys, thanks for spending some time with me. Hope you all have a fabulous day. Catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.